All right, more album rankings. This time we're going to do Metallica. Buckle in, this is going to be a long one. Let's start this off by saying we're not doing Lulu. We're not going to do any of the S&M albums, none of the Garage Days. Strictly original studio albums. As always, this is my list and not your list. If you agree with it or disagree with it, let me know in the comments. But be nice. All right, first up, Saint Anger from 2003, Metallica's foray into new metal, even though it was like 5 years past when new metal started. What can we say about this? The snare sounds terrible. It's like a trash can. There's no solos. I don't like that. It's not the worst thing I've ever heard. It's the worst Metallica album, kind of almost by far. Some of the songs are all right. It sounds terrible. The production's no good. Frantic's kind of cool. Some Kind of Monsters pretty cool. Purify is probably my favorite off of this album, but yeah, it's not all that good. Next is Reload. I feel like this most of this album sounds like it was stuff that didn't make the cut for Load, and Beyond Memory Remains and Devil's Dance. Um, Not the biggest fan. Fuel's fine. It's kind of cheesy and dumb. I'm not a big fan of Unforgiven 2. Like I said, Memory Remains and Devil's Dance, two good ones for me. Rest of the album, not so much. Fixer and Attitude have some cool riffs on it, but again, it just sounds like stuff that was on the cutting room floor of Load, and then they put an album out. This might come as a shock to some people putting this so low. 2008's Death Magnetic. I was super excited for this to come out after Saint Anger came out. It was kind of a huge disappointment. So let's get to the good stuff. It's got solos again. It's got a little bit of the aggression and the riffing that was missing from Saint Anger. A couple of decent songs, Broken, Beaten, and Scarred. Cyanide's kind of cool. Suicide and Redemption and the Judas Kiss are cool. Um, the Day That Never Comes, it's fine. Not really that great. Unforgiven 3, again, I'm not a huge fan of Unforgiven 2 and Unforgiven 3. I don't know. Yeah, don't make an Unforgiven 4, please. The negative about this is it sounds fucking awful. This came out and it was brick walled to hell, compressed to shit, and it just sounds fucking awful. They released it on the Guitar Hero Rock Band Metallica version. It sounds great. I can't find that anywhere. Not on fucking Spotify. It sounded fucking terrible. All right, now we're getting into the meat of decent albums. Last year's 72 Seasons. Shadows Follow is really good. Sleepwalk My Life Away, that's fine. Too Far Gone, good song. But the top one for me, the top standout, Inamorata. That's the longest song that they've had since the Load and Reload eras. It's like 11 minutes long. I love that song. Wasn't super blown away by it. I enjoyed it when it came out. I don't think I've listened to it um, since like the first 2 months that it came out. So I guess it doesn't have the replay value for me that other stuff has. All right, here's where I start to probably upset some people. Kill 'Em All, debut from 1983, ranked at number 7. Yeah. Um, Four Horsemen and Seek and Destroy are the top two tracks on here. I'm not a huge fan of a bunch of the rest of them, like Motor Breath. Not a big fan. Jump in the Fire, not a big fan. Like it doesn't sound great. It's raw. I get it. It was their first album. They had the No Life to Leather demo before this. I don't know. It doesn't hit for me the way the ones coming up hit for me. But at number 6, 1996, Load. A lot of people didn't like this style change after the Black album. They cut their hair. I I think this is fantastic. I love this album. Everything from here on out, I love the whole album. Until It Sleeps, Hero of the Day, King Nothing, Bleeding Me. That's a favorite when they did that on the S&M album. Top notch. This is a long one too. It comes in an hour and 18 minutes. There's more of Bleeding Me that they had to cut off to get to 80 minutes, just under 80 minutes on a CD, because a CD can only hold 80 minutes. So they had to shorten that song a little bit. Next up, Hardwired to Self-Destruct from 2016. This is what Death Magnetic was trying to be, and what 72 Seasons hoped it could have been, if that makes any sense. Lots of standouts on here. Atlas Rise, Spit Out the Bone, Man Unkind, Now That We're Dead. Again, this is what the album before and the album after both wanted to be, and they weren't, and this was it. Top four, the Black Album, 1991. What can you say about this that hasn't already been said? This is one of the five best sounding records ever to me. The drum sounds incredible. Bob Rock did with them what nobody else would have been able to do, brought them to the stratosphere. They became the biggest band in music from this album. This is like a greatest hits album for them. Sad but True, The Unforgiven, the first one, not the other two that I don't like. Wherever I May Roam, Nothing Else Matters, The God That Failed, My Friend of Misery, Of Wolf and Man. Just perfect song after perfect song after perfect song. Absolutely amazing album. Number three, 1984's Ride the Lightning. The only reason this isn't number two is the production isn't the best. It sounds like James Hetfield is singing through a tin can. It's very, everything's mixed very far away. There's a lot of reverb on everything. It sounds like they just put one microphone in the room with the band instead of miking everything. So the production isn't the best, but the songs are fantastic. Fight Fire with Fire, Ride the Lightning is probably one of my favorite songs ever. Call of Cthulhu, Creeping Death, best bridge, I think, in music history. Prove the Bell Tolls, Fade to Black, Escape and Trapped Under Ice. Decent songs, but those other ones, amazing. Number two, Master of Puppets, the last album they recorded with Cliff Burton before his untimely death. Battery, the title track, Thing That Should Not Be, Welcome Home, Orion, Disposable Heroes. Again, perfect album. I can't say anything bad about it. Perfect album. Absolutely perfect, perfect record. And coming in at number one, my favorite, and hopefully yours, probably in your maybe your top three or four, and Justice for All. I know what everyone's going to say. There's no bass. Where's Jason? This was the first album they released with Jason Newsted. I wish I could hear the bass, but I love how it sounds. I love the guitars. I love how the mids are scooped out of the guitar. Other people hate it. I love it. The songwriting is impeccable. This is where they became a prog metal band. Half the songs are 8, 9, 10 minutes long with 12 and 14 different sections, all these time signature changes. It's amazing. And Justice for All is my favorite album. The title track is my favorite Metallica song. You have One, Blackened, To Live Is to Die, Eye of the Beholder, Frayed Ends of Sanity, Harvester of Sorrow. I can just name every one of them. Fantastic album.